If we keep looking up there, it's because there's a microphone.
Yep.
Usually I have a lapel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too. I'm so used to having a lapel. Low budget.
Hi guys, welcome back. This is going to be an exciting episode because this is my first interview in this series documenting the writing, recording and production of my album in a home studio. You may notice we're not in my home studio, we are in my good friend Guillaume Aguirre's studio, also known as Ghost, and I'm going to call him Ghost because that's easier. So welcome Ghost, welcome.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure for me to be here. It's very flattering to be the first one. Or not flattering, considering this is an experiment. If everything goes very wrong, the better people are going to be safer later. But I know there's a lot of great people coming up anyway, so thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for coming on. So tell these guys a bit about yourself. Who are you? Where do you come from? What do you do?
I'm a bass player. I play a bit of everything. I've been a musician I stopped counting at 30 years.
30 years old or 30 years of being a musician?
Of being a musician, yeah.
Right.
So a long time. My passion is the bass guitar. I've been touring and exclusively living on music for over 25 years, easily now.
So what are your musical influences? What did you listen to growing up in Brazil? What shaped the Ghost?
Rush.
Ah, of course.
And then I also listened a lot of Rush. And sometimes when I was tired of listening to Rush, I would listen
to more Rush.
No, I was into prog rock, big time.
Right. You played bass on my first song, It Feels Like.
I did indeed.
I won't ask you what you thought when you first heard the tune, because it was a very patchy demo, but what was your approach to playing the bass on this track?
Right. We've worked before together, and I know much of the things I like normally doing in songs are things you necessarily don't do on your songs. And that's totally fine.
Such as?
Playing lines that were too full of notes and going, this is about the bass, it's not about the song anymore, which is completely fine. So when you invited me to play on your song, I had that in mind, and I tried as much as possible listening to you and your ideas, because as I didn't have a vision for what that would sound like when it was finished. You had it.
I had half a vision.
Yeah.
But the point of me getting talented musicians on this album is to fill in the gaps.
Of course.
I feel like I can take the songs so far, and most of them are programmed in on or played in on a keyboard into Logic on a piano, and then I'll reorchestrate them on MIDI instrumentation.
Yeah.
So it might be a guitar line. On this track there was a guitar line that didn't translate onto the physical guitar, so David's played something else.
Yeah.
And there are other lines that don't quite work, but so yeah, I can get it some of the way there.
Yeah.
And then this is where you guys come in and expertly fill in the gaps and make me look more famous than I am.
Well, I approach it with a lot of caution, let's say.
Right.
Because I know the style of music you listen to and you like. And so I try to first do the basic and just be the bassist for the song. To that kind of bassist that people don't remember there's a bass guitar, which works for the music, and that's the beauty of it. So I did a take that was very simple. I did a few lines that you sang to me, that you do, I keep listening to these, and we try that, and I recorded this option as well.
Yeah, because I remember hearing the bass parts and thinking, okay, I like that bit. Mm-hmm. Don't like that bit, but this is making me think of another idea.
Yeah.
So what we did was we came in here, in this very room, hence the interview, and recorded through Ghost's Apogee Duet sound card and traded ideas off each other, and then...
Yeah, basically I did the simple the part that fit the music, and then I started recording some layers of, I was extrapolating. I knew you wouldn't use most of them, but some of them, these you
some
ended
of them
up using.
We did, yeah.
Which was very cool. But that's kind of how I normally do that. If I'm invited to play a project, I start very carefully, and I do what I imagine I am expected to do. And then I give them also the option of what I would normally do. And you can mix and work with these ideas.
Yeah, I felt bass-wise, this track was reasonably easy to simplify in terms of there were only a few moments where I felt the bass could stand out, but there were, in between the vocal lines, we did this before the guitar went down. So David might have got the short end of the stick with not much space, but I think he more than made up for it. But there were definite moments in between the vocals where we talked about having nice little bass runs. In the mix, I've actually boosted by a couple of decibels just so they pop out a little bit, and those
sounds amazing.
Those were great. So Ghost had loads of ideas for little 16th note runs and nailed them technically, and then I just said, yep, like that, don't like that, and we came up with this monster bass track that really drives the song, and it just creates such a good, big, solid foundation for the track.
It's really cool.
No, I love what you did on it. Smashed it.
Thank you.
That's getting edited out. So moving on to gear, what equipment did you use? What bass did you use?
I used my bass guitar.
Good start.
I have 3 bass guitars, but this is my favorite one.
What are your 3 bass guitars?
I have a jazz bass fretless hiding behind that curtain over there, only you can see.
Nice.
I have a practice bass guitar over there that I don't even remember the name for. That's where I learn the songs. It's always next to me here.
Let's call it a P bass.
Yeah, that's the one. And I have the Music Man.
Nice.
Stingray.
So we recorded bass here using a DI straight into the computer, and then I went to my good friend Gaz Twist's house to reamp the bass. Coming up on the screen now, there's a picture of that setup, and we used a Gallion & Kruger MB200 head, which is a little beast of a unit, and an SWR, I think that's a 2x12 cab. On the cab, we had a Sennheiser E602 mic, which has quite a smiley face EQ to it, so lots of bottom end, lots of tops, bit of a scoop on the mids, and that's the sound I wanted for this track, and that combination just creates this really fat, juicy, rich bass sound.
I was very surprised with the final.
Right, okay.
Yeah, really heavy. I could have put some amp emulations here, but each song demands a different thing, so I left it to...
Yeah, I think in the end I used the 602 mic feed of the amp, and then I treated the DI feed slightly differently. One of them I would have added loads of sub to, and one of them possibly more tops. I should probably go into the project and
I want to know what you did there, because it worked beautifully.
Right, at some point I'll go into the project and do a separate video.
Excellent.
On mixing the bass, like I've just done on the drums. Have you got any music online?
Good question.
Can we put a link in the description below?
Yes, I can. Let's have a link of my website, and you can see some videos of me playing. There's like a playlist on the front page with some other session work I did.
Perfect.
Yeah. So
and are you on YouTube?
I am on YouTube, and you have the link right over here, apparently. I mean, right now, if you're watching, yeah.
Okay.
The link is here.
We can put a card in on the video.
Yeah.
The thing is, slide across from here. Watch.
Yeah. Oh,
that's
that
magic
was
editing.
So cool. The problem is, YouTube has changed so much throughout the years that I stopped doing this when I did my own videos. Because in 200 years from now, you're probably not going to see the video here. It's going to be an holographic thing showing up on your, what's the name? Augmented reality Googles. And I'm just like going to look like an idiot. Yeah, click on the link up here.
That's if humans are even here in 200 years' time.
Yeah,
I'm not optimistic.
No, it's not very...
Anyway, we won't be, so who cares?
Yeah.
What is your definition of success as a musician? I find this is such a difficult subject to quantify, and I may talk about it in other videos, but what is your definition?
That's very subjective.
Yes.
Obviously, when I started playing music, I wanted to be the next Michael Jackson, and obviously that did not happen. But throughout the years, the definition of success for music becomes the definition of success for life in general, which is acceptance. That's the best thing you can do with your life. It's like when you accept that what you're doing is good, that you are happy doing it. Like definition of success I've considered myself incredibly successful because I've been doing music exclusively for 30 years. I've been earning all my money out of exclusively playing music.
Now that I would define as success.
Yes, and understanding, but to get to that point, you need to get through the acceptance part, which is okay. You're not the next Michael Jackson, and you always have to readjust your expectations, in order to be happy. Otherwise, you're just going to be miserable the whole time. You're going to be bitter. You're going to be finding problems with everyone. You're never going to really enjoy another musician in your generation because you are going to feel like you are directly competing.
I love Taylor Swift, though.
Yeah, well, keep that to yourself. No, I'm kidding. Well, I love Billie Eilish, but I guess
Great production.
mine makes more sense though. Let's not get into it.
I'm not even joking.
Music is subjective anyway, and everything is subjective in this sense. So even like at my age now, I am 46, I'm going to be 47 very soon. The best prospects I can hope for in a music career is probably playing sessions for good tours. But even if I reach this level again, there will be ups and downs. I will do an amazing 3 years tour, world tour with an amazing band, and then I'm gonna be playing a function, maybe a holiday park, and you just gotta keep going and learn how to appreciate every gig you do.
Yeah, so is a better word possibly for acceptance perspective? Because acceptance to me suggests that you're taking your lot in life and you're just giving up and you're not trying to make it better. Whereas though I think what you might be referring to more of, correct me if I'm wrong, is you've made the decision to be happy with what you've got where you are.
Yeah.
If that makes more sense. So you're choosing, rather than being, oh, I've just got a covers gig today, whatever, can't be bothered. Your perception is, right, I've got a covers gig, great, I'm going to entertain some people.
Well, not always. I sometimes wake up miserable as well.
Well, it depends where we wake up for those gigs. But you know, you wake up and you're the positive kind of guy with the attitude of, right, I've got an opportunity to entertain people here and some kids are going to have fun.
Yeah.
I get to earn money playing music. I don't have a 9-to-5 job. I'm not on minimum wage. Although sometimes when you work out the mileage and the travelling, it can work out less than minimum wage. But in general, we're both in a very good position where we make money purely out of performing music. So that's a matter of perspective in terms of being happy. Now,
I think it's both.
Right.
I think they're both different things that apply to the same subject. In order to have this perspective, you have to accept where you are in the first place. You are not going to have this perspective if you keep hoping and wanting a lot more all the time and being frustrated that you are not there yet.
Yeah, that will make you miserable, and it's so easy to do as a musician. So I guess that's where the acceptance comes in. I remember when I was 18, I took it for granted. I just took it as a given that by the time I was 25, I was going to be playing stadiums as a drummer. Now, the reality, I hit 25 and actually got quite depressed that I wasn't doing that and I was stuck in a covers band, and that wasn't really why I started playing the drums. A few years down the line, I then started to accept, I guess, thinking about it, that, okay, I maybe wasn't ever going to be either good enough or, more importantly, I think good at the networking side of it to get myself the opportunities to get playing stadiums, because I hate small talk and I don't think I suck up to people. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't feel like I certainly don't suck up to people to get work. That is just something I think I would have done when I was 19, 20. I was really bad at it, realised it didn't work. In hindsight, I look back and cringe at some of the things I may have said to people, but now I definitely don't suck up to people for work. If you're not my mates, fine, I've got plenty of friends I don't see enough as it is. I don't need to create new friendships to get work. Also, I'm too busy for that anyway, thankfully. So that, I guess I accepted that my career as a drummer wasn't going to go too much further than playing covers and a few sessions here and there. And then I got into writing music, and then that's where this channel came from. Yeah. And my perceptions changed again. I want to grow out of the covers world. I'll still do it, obviously, because I love doing it, and I've got loads of great friends who do it. And it's just playing is fun. Playing is now more fun now than when I was 25 and hating covers gigs because I wanted something bigger. Now that I have accepted I'm not going to do that. Yeah, covers. So maybe acceptance is the right word for it.
Yeah. One thing that took me many years to achieve is like when you're doing the gigs that are not considered the high-level gigs, let's say like the holiday parks that a lot of musicians cringe talking about that. It took me a few years, many years to accept that was okay and start seeing the real benefit of it, which is the problem is we all got into music to get laid. That's not
happened for me yet. I'm still working on that one.
Yeah. Well, But that's the mistake we make. And when you play a holiday park, you're gonna play for very old people, parents that don't even show up in front of the stage because they're tired of life in general, and their children on the dance floor. So that also keeping the parents away because they don't want to be anywhere near their children at that stage. So, but the thing is, you play for the children, and the children appreciates that so much. And the moment you stop trying to look in the dark for a hot girl, and you start looking at the children and seeing how happy they are and which songs make them happy, and you can see them singing a lot. It's so gratifying.
And they're excited because
they are so excited.
Music for a lot of these kids is a privilege they might not have.
And I know every time we go out there into a holiday park and we perform a gig and we have fun doing it and we connect with the children, I know at least one of these kids are going to pick up an instrument and want to become like us in the future. So I see that as a public service. When you learn...
And that's the rewarding side of it.
It is, it is. A lot of musicians teach music, and when they teach for children, children really learn. It's so gratifying. So it's the same thing.
Ghost also offers Skype lessons online.
I do.
Details on his website, I believe.
Indeed, yes.
Anywhere in the world. Please sign up because he wants to go traveling around the world.
Yes,
teaching
please.
bass in Thailand.
I need to survive. Yes, I'm teaching online. All my pupils at the moment, they are all from Russia, which is very cool. But yeah, that's another way in which I broke out of this just playing covers thing, and I'm doing something different at the moment. Equally, there is another kind of tour that was a very mind-boggling one, let's say, which was military tours. When we started doing it in the first place,
yes,
it's again a gig where you're gonna play just for guys mostly.
Yeah,
very few girls.
I only did a few of them. I did a couple in Germany.
Yeah, and it takes a while for you to click in and understand what they need. And we did twice a tour of Afghanistan, which was very exciting going out there. And understanding...
When was this?
2010 and 2011. We went there during the winter to find out Afghanistan is covered in snow, like incredibly.
Yeah.
So cold in there. Playing for this crowd was one of the most emotional moments of my life. I remember finishing a gig once in Camp Bastion. We've played for about, I don't know, maybe 4,000 people.
Wow.
They were all sober. And they all appreciated it so much. They were enjoying. You could see each one of them were having the time of their lives. They were going to remember that night as much as I remember this night up to today, because they lived under such tension the whole time, regardless of your political views on if wars are right or wrong, which was something I had a little conflict at the time. When you get there, you realize, no, these are human beings. They are doing their best. Either they are being guided or misguided or not. They are doing their best.
And doing something they love as well.
Yes.
For the most part.
And they are under life threat every single day. So that moment of entertainment you provide for them is so precious.
Yeah.
I still have goosebumps when I remember ending that gig and running to the backstage because I needed to be in the dark. I cried a little bit in the corner. Wow. It was so touching. So every gig is different. When you stop expecting that everything turns out the same way, you're gonna go out, play a gig, get laid, and have fun, get drunk, whatever. When you stop, when you manage to break out of these and realize that your job as a musician is so much bigger than that, that's when acceptance kicks in and you start enjoying little moments a little bit more. That makes sense.
Yeah. All right, so Ghost, what are your thoughts on the music industry? And by industry, take whatever interpretation of that you feel you can talk about.
Very cloudy. To be honest, I have no thoughts on music industry because music industry has changed so much since I decided to become a musician up to now. Obviously, when I was a child and I wanted to become famous, and I had no idea what I had to do to become famous. Who should I see? Oh, a record label. And then eventually internet came along. When I was actually becoming prolific and writing my own music, internet came at the same time. And it changed the business completely. And I know up to today that the secret for success in this department hasn't been cracked yet. There are so many new medias to distribute your music, to sell your music, and still we're not making money out of it. I don't know if it's our generation that still hasn't learned how to profit from new technologies, or if it's a general thing. I assume it's more of a general thing. But music industry is a mystery to me.
Right. Do you feel, it's just occurred to me as you were speaking then, that possibly the industry has evolved? I mean, the time I've been in London now, which is coming up to 15 years, I was buying CDs when I was learning songs for covers bands. I'd get asked to learn a song, and I'd go and buy the whole album on CD and then listen to the whole album, partly to develop my musical awareness of that band and style, partly because I enjoyed collecting music. And at the time I thought, well, this is kind of the end game of the music industry. This is how we consume music. And then all of a sudden the internet came along and everything's changed, which is so well documented. And now the standard is YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Music. You know, there's even rumours iTunes is going under because they're just submitting to the subscription-based services. So is that now the end game? Is that the standard? Or is this what it is for 10, 15 years as CDs was, and then there's going to be something else?
Well, I started learning music for bands in, how do you call the tapes? Little tapes, cassette.
Yeah.
Right? And then I remember the CD coming up as well later.
Mini discs briefly.
And yes. And then MP3s that you could actually download it. They took forever to download in Napster. And now we have Apple Music, for instance. I think it's very exciting that we got to that stage. And I can't really imagine how it's going to look in the future. I never stopped to think about that. And I think the way it is now is amazing because we have in our hands every music written in the planet, nearly. I mean, nearly everything is in there. In other hand, these companies are doing a terrible job at compensating the artists. I read yesterday an article about the owner of Spotify. I didn't learn his name. I don't like him very much. He is worth $2.5 billion. And still, the artists are not being compensated.
And he's worth that amount of money, yet also claims that Spotify isn't a profitable business model yet.
How interesting.
Come on.
Yeah, it's the same with Uber. It's the same with all these models. I think Uber is the ultimate solution for taxi. But if they could pay their taxes and just take like 15% of the share of a ride from the driver, they would be making such an amazing contribution to the environment in which they're developing, and they would still have more money to spend than they could possibly think of. And they also claim, no, but we need this, we can only pay, I don't know how much they pay a driver. I think it's the opposite, 20%, and the rest goes to Uber. Is insane.
I couldn't tell you, but I mean, this is synonymous with the basic corporate business model. As soon as you involve shareholders, you know, the guys at the bottom making the music, driving the taxis, they're overlooked because it's the bottom line numbers that count, and the music industry has definitely suffered from that.
I think that can change though, and I think
it is changing.
Yeah.
The internet is a beautiful tool. People are taking that power back.
Yeah.
People can self-release.
Same way now as you see a lot of people going vegan and worrying more about the environment. People are trying to pay more attention to what they buy in the supermarkets to make sure they don't come from a source that tortures animals and exploit human beings. The same way, I think, right now, for me at least, if there's an app like an Uber, a version of Uber that comes out, and their motto, their propaganda is, what we do is we pay our taxes and we get just a little commission from our drivers. They've got me there. And I know they will get a lot of people that would buy that.
So I'm sure there's a similar platform online for music.
Exactly. That's my point. So I don't know what's going to be the name of this app that will do everything correctly, and people with a consciousness will migrate to that.
That must exist already. Guys, if you know, let us know in the comments.
Yes, please. I don't mind even paying more for it, as long as it's going to the right place.
Yeah, I'd say there's a definite conscious movement towards ethical goods, ethical products, ethical services that people will pay a little bit more for. Yeah.
It's about time.
So it is about time it kicked in the music industry. But everyone knows the music industry, certainly the last 20 years, dealing with the changes imposed on it by other people creating opportunities for themselves online, such as Napster and the whole illegal download scene. The music industry was so slow to react to that. And I feel even now they're only just catching up, and they're only just getting their head around this concept of streaming. But to say that record labels are still taking a distribution fee out of an artist's royalty money is a joke. There's no distribution to someone signing it up in the office onto Spotify or DistroKid or whatever you want to use. Where's the 10% distribution fee going for that? Things like that, I think, need to change and be more transparent. But I guess the guy who suggests that in a corporate office, suggesting something like that might influence the bottom line numbers and affect shareholders, they're going to get fired immediately.
Or they're going to get murdered. I don't know how far people go. It depends where we're talking about. But the truth is, the change is never at the top anyway. It's not about one president or a prime minister that will know, now we're going to do this like that. Because it's been proven that these people, they have their wings cut immediately as soon as they step into office. And they have no power because they're bribed, because they're threatened. Depending on where they are, as I said. But the real power comes with the people changing, and people are changing. We are coming to realize now that things need a big shift. And the minute everyone starts reading the labels of what they're buying, the owners of the corporations will start to, okay, now we have to provide a decent service, otherwise we don't sell anymore. They are going to do whatever we want. And that's how it works. They keep trying to just throw cheap stuff because we still buy into cheap stuff.
Well, we've been conditioned to doing that. Like fast food, there's a whole generation conditioned that fast food is acceptable for breakfast. And there's a whole generation, I guess maybe my age and maybe a bit lower, that is conditioned that music should be free. Why should I have to pay for music? Or I use Spotify for free and tolerate some rubbish adverts for 10 seconds every 5 songs or something. How do you move away from that? How do you monetize this expectation that everything should be for free? It's only people creating the content who know just how long it takes to write a song, record it, produce it well, do a music video, put it online. I mean, it's not even free to put songs on Spotify. You don't just upload to Spotify. You have to go through a distribution service like DistroKid or CD Baby, and then you either pay a fee per song or a commission per royalty, or you pay an annual fee to host your tracks on those websites. So nothing is free, despite people listening to it for free. Studio time, I'm trying to do my album on a budget, and so far I'm doing it reasonably well because I have such amazing friends playing on my songs and providing stuff. But the last couple I've paid £250 to go into a studio for a day, which isn't a vast amount of money, but it adds up. Not to mention all the thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds of equipment that I've got, my friends have got that we're playing on, plugins I've bought, microphones to make this stuff even sound vaguely good. And even then I can't compete with $1 million studios that are still getting used to produce the, Taylor Swifts and
the
Ed
years
Sheerans.
and years of learning and practicing.
The most important part,
It's so much investment going on that and coming back with nothing. But I think people are getting more educated.
So in summary, thank you for playing on the track.
Man,
I think
thank
you
you for having me.
Job.
It's a pleasure.
Worries, man.
It's very flattering to be in the first song.
And it's always a pleasure hanging out with you.
Whenever you need. As you know, the cello is waiting for you there, right there.
Please subscribe to Ghost's channel. Link to his website is in the description below. If you've enjoyed this interview, great. There's going to be plenty more coming up with all these amazingly talented musicians that are going to be playing on these tracks. Next up, we've got David D'Andrade, who played guitar on this track, It Feels Like. Link to the full lyric video is above if you want to hear how that sounds. Please subscribe below for more content. Hit that like button. Smash the dislike if you don't like either of our faces. That's fine. It's 2020. We're all friends, and I will see you on the next one. In fact, you could do that. Why don't you do the... We could rip off the Peter McKinnon thing. Do you know who Peter McKinnon is?
No, I've heard the name, but
Peter McKinnon is a legend.
Right.
And he's just got this thing where he goes like, until next time.
Oh, no,
And
you
he's
do
got
that.
these
I
really
like that.
sexy ways of signing off videos. So you could do it with your hat. Just mind the
This
microphone.
hat doesn't work for that.
This microphone must
This
be in
hat is
shot
kind
by
of stuck in my head. It's like it doesn't work.
now. Are you
that.
like
That's
Samson
much
if you take it off? It just...
Yeah, the snakes are gonna come out.
All right, what we'll do, I'm going to throw it on the camera. Oh, he's missed! Still here. Should we try it again?
Can do that. I think it was enough to hit the screen.
We could try this like 100 times, can we?
That's enough, man.
I mean-
Because when it hits here, they don't need to know that the camera kept that just hit. You just
Editing, they'll never
just
know.
go on the black screen and leave it there.
Excellent.
Very interesting. This bedroom. Every noise I do, if I sneeze, there will be sympathetic strings vibrating everywhere. You can hear.
Is it the strings or the reverb in the room?
Strings?
It's a bit of both, isn't it?
It's a bit of Of course, there's the reverb of the room as well. But sometimes it's very clear. You know the note in which you just sneezed. Achoo!
What you can get is Pro Acoustics foam.
Oh,
Link in the description below,
yes, very interesting.
and that will attenuate the resonance in your room. That's what I
Yeah.
did in my studio. It sounds very dead now. It's
I
good.
see. Yeah, I don't know
recording
why I would
environment.
want to do that in my bedroom. But yeah,
Less
I record
reverberation
here.
for your
I
neighbours
record
when
vocal here.
girlfriend's around.
I've already got in trouble because of that. So, see, all these things that you're gonna cut off, you should do an extra video about talking to the camera and learning how to do that. That's a different channel altogether over there.
Yeah, that is a different channel. There's some channels I follow who are music based who have done behind the scenes, how to do this on YouTube, how to get followers, which is basically them selling out to those kind of videos are really popular at the moment. You know, how to grow your channel, what gear to use, all this stuff. Everyone who's successful does them at some point, and I probably will if this channel takes off, because it does hit a target
When
audience.
this channel takes off.
He's the man. When this channel takes off, because it does target a broader audience and gains. If those videos get traction, it will bring followers and potential subscribers to the channel. But for me personally, that's moving too far off subject, and I kind of want to respect my audience and keep it to music production, recording, musicians.
You will sell out eventually, but for a bigger price. I understand that.
Maybe YouTube already is because I'm putting my album out there through YouTube.